Shalom, dear friends. In the 12th chapter that we are going to see today, Jesus is going to give a shocking therapy to the listeners. Matthew develops the theme of opposition mounted by the enemies of Jesus. Jesus is in fact called as a lawbreaker, as an agent of Satan, and a teacher without proper authorization. And two stories related to Sabbath are given to us at the beginning of the chapter. Both are dispute stories. You know, Sabbath and circumcision are the two obvious distinguishing mark of Judaism. So it is a matter of national and religious pride. And there are rules with regard to Sabbath rest. There are 39 items that are considered forbidden works. And some of them are very specific. You know, like writing 2 letters or erasing to write 2 letters are considered forbidden works. Today, for example, stitching a button or switching on the light or opening the fridge because the light comes in, you are creating something, and they are all forbidden. So it is in this background that the Pharisees are attacking Jesus when his disciples pluck grains and eat when they were hungry. So the accusation is that the disciples broke the Sabbath rest. They interpreted the disciples plucking the grain as reaping. And in order to eat, they would have rubbed the grains to take out the husk, which is considered as threshing. Both are forbidden works. Jesus answers to the question of the Pharisees. First of all, he quotes the Old Testament from the 1st Samuel. When David and his companions were hungry, they went into the holy place and ate the bread that was reserved to the priests. You know, in the temple, in the tabernacle, there are 12 loaves of bread representing 12 tribes of Israel and their communion with God, and reserved only for the priest to eat. So David ate because he was hungry, and Jesus is legitimizing the action of David because there is a human need. Jesus concludes that section by saying, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. He quotes Hosea 6:6. For the Son of Man is the Lord of Sabbath. So Jesus makes a statement of superiority of mercy over sacrifice. And mercy is the yoke that Jesus gives instead of the burden that the Pharisees are putting on the people. For Jesus is the ultimate interpreter of the law. That's what says the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. In the second conflict story, which is the healing on the Sabbath, healing is possible according to the Sabbath law only in the case of the danger of death. And this man with a withered hand is not the danger of death. So the question to Jesus, is it lawful to cure on the Sabbath? And the counter argument from Jesus, any owner will rescue his sheep that fell into the pit even on the Sabbath. to show that human being is greater than this animal. So again, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. From verse 15 to 21, we encounter Jesus, the Spirit-filled servant of Yahweh, servant of God, prophesied in Isaiah, one of those great 4 passages describing the servant of God, servant of Yahweh. And this is the longest Old Testament quotation in the Gospel according to Matthew, where Jesus is that Spirit-filled servant who is meek but not weak. He will continue to do the mission that God has entrusted to him. The mission of saving, the mission of healing, and even healing on a Sabbath. Verses 20 to 37, there is a question of the source of Jesus' power. There is an exorcism of a demoniac who is deaf, dumb, and blind. There is a reaction from the crowd. They are amazed. An extraordinary verb that Matthew uses. Instead, the scribes and Pharisees are trying to attack Jesus. They are accusing Jesus of joining with the head of the Satan to do these magical powers. And there, Jesus makes a statement about the sin against the Holy Spirit that will not be forgiven. And what is this sin against the Holy Spirit that will not be forgiven? Jesus forgives the repentant thief. Jesus forgives the woman committed adultery. Jesus pardons Peter who denied him 3 times. So there is a sin that cannot be forgiven? Yes, sin against the Holy Spirit. It is the persistent, obdurate unbelief that God cannot forgive, because it is a personal freedom. You resist God, you resist the Holy Spirit. We go to the next session, verse 38 to 45. Jesus rejects a request for a sign. We have seen in the temptation story, Jesus does not succumb to the temptation to glorify himself. He refuses to make bread out of stone. He refuses to jump down from the pinnacle of the temple to show his power. No. All his signs, miracles, are miracles of mercy and compassion, and not for a show. And look at the scathing attack of Jesus. He calls them brood of vipers, evil and adulterous generation. Jesus does not mince words. It's a definition of his true family. He makes use of the occasion of his mother and his cousins coming to meet him, and there he defines his true family. It is beyond all physical or blood relationship. All those who follow the will of the Father are his mother, brother, and sister. Please take note of the last verse, where sister is also included. In a highly gender-conscious society, Jesus mentions also sister as part of his disciples, and they will form, women also will form part of his discipleship, and they will be the ones who will be at the death, burial, and even at the resurrection. May the peace of the Lord be with you.